Welcome to the Women in Wealth podcast, brought to you by Regina McCann-Hess, a certified financial planner with over 2 decades of experience. This show is for professional women who want guidance in working towards their retirement vision in learning, building, planning, striving for your dreams, and putting the work in now so that you can pursue your financial independence. Hello, I'm Regina McCann-Hess, president of Forge Wealth Management, and welcome to our Women in Wealth series. Today, I have a new friend with me. And Kim, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and what you love about what you do?
Yes, Regina, I'm so happy to be here. I love women, empowering women. So I'm a franchise consultant. And for the last 20 years of my life, I have been helping people realize their dreams of time and money freedom. People always ask me, oh, how's your business? I'm like, my business is always thriving. Why? Because everybody in the world wants what I have, time and money freedom. So I teach people about the true value of a franchise versus being an entrepreneur, how you can buy down the risk of starting a business by partnering yourself with people who've already figured out how to make money. And they can train and support you. So you don't need experience. You don't need an MBA. You don't need $1 million. You do need some money to invest. But I help people kind of break through all the limiting beliefs that they typically have about franchising, educate them on what it can really do for them, and then align opportunities to their background, interests, skills, finances, and goals. Then I coach them through about a 1 to 2 month due diligence process that allows them to work with these franchisors to figure out among this group of options that we're looking at, is there one that really feels like the best partnership for them? And along the way, I am a mindset coach. So along the way, I'm imparting hopefully a lot of wisdom. I have 27 years as a small business owner, and I've been a history-making franchise consultant for over a decade. And I share a lot of my knowledge, how I went from average performing to history making. I share my personal story of how I went from saving money in my self-employed pension plan and in the stock market to becoming an alternative investor and really setting myself financially free with cash flow. So I share my story, not because it's the only way to do it or the best way to do it, but it's a good story and I've been successful. And I want to inspire people to all the ideas so that they can determine for themselves what's the best path. There's so many ways to build wealth in this world. It's just about getting educated and then figuring out, is this the right thing for me? And is it right for me right now?
Yeah. And you're right. There are so many ways to build wealth and accumulate wealth and to hopefully keep your wealth. And it's about diversification. Just like when we talk about the stock market, you want to be diversified. So being diversified in your wealth is a great option as well.
Correct.
So it sounds like people don't have to come to you already knowing what type of franchise they want or a specific franchise. You help them evolve into what might be the right fit for them.
100%. And often, Regina, when they do come with an idea, it's not that I don't hear it, but here's what usually happens. They'll come to me and say, "Ooh, Kim, I love to work out. So I really have been looking at name the new gym that's the hottest thing in franchising. Or, in my community, we don't have a," so they pick the franchise based on filling a need in the community or because they want to buy a hobby or a passion. And then when they come to me, and that's all good, and I understand the intent, but what we're going to do is we're going to wipe the slate clean, because a business is not a hobby, and you should not invest in a business because it's what your community needs. The business is a vehicle for you that's going to drive your life personally, professionally, and financially to a new place. So you are going to tell me what this new place looks like. So in 3 to 5 years, you're going to draw a vision, you're going to create a vision, and then share that with me. Who are you and how are you engaged in the business or not engaged? What kind of people do you employ or not employ? What kind of customers do you serve? So you're going to paint the picture for me. And with my 23 years of knowledge, relationship, and experience of the best franchisors out there, then I'm going to align the top 3 to 5 options to your goals. And if the widget of the business happens to align with a hobby, that's like the icing on the cake, but it's absolutely not the essential factor. Because at the end of the day, as an investor, you want to wake up and be excited to walk into your business and feel in control. So I want to align a business to the key skill sets that you have. And like I said, like the people that you want to empower as teammates in your business. If you think that managing minimum wage mentality is going to frustrate you and irritate you, then that may dismiss a lot of businesses that you initially thought as a hobby would be a business you might enjoy. So it's more aligning to the outcomes and then allowing me with my knowledge to bring the ideas. But certainly, Regina, it's not my way or the highway. Sometimes people have a business that I don't know anything about. And I say, look, bring that franchisor to the table. We're going to hold that franchisor to the gold standard that I'm going to teach you. And may
Okay.
the best win. So
Yeah.
yes, I'm paid. This is a totally free service for all the candidates. You never pay me any money for the 1 to 2 months of work that we do together. I'm paid like a recruiter. So I
Okay.
do get paid by the franchisors, but I always tell all of my candidates that if you end up selecting the business that I don't represent, it happens like almost negatively, never. But if it did happen, no judgment from me. This isn't about me. I don't run my business in a way that I need every single person I invest time with to like pick my company. It's not reality. And so what I tell people is, you'll bless me by sending me a referral.
There you go.
But most of the time, the greatest companies out there are in my network. And if they're not, maybe you're going to bring me something, but it's really, there's no limitation to opportunity in my world. That's not the hard part here. The hard part is helping people get clarity about why they want to invest in a business and who they want to become, and moving past our limiting beliefs and our fears, which we all have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So then would you say you have a specific industry or niche as far as the franchises go, or it's just like blanket of anything?
Yes, the second. There is
Uh-huh.
no limitation over here. I mean, from home services to pet services, elderly, food, fitness, wellness, preventative, the preventative health space, which has become a really big space since 2020. There is no shortage of opportunity
Hmm.
across all different industries. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
now I don't pigeonhole anybody or myself into any one industry.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you end up doing this? That's very interesting because I don't, like I
Yeah.
said before we started talking, I don't run into too many people who are franchisees or especially who help people get into franchises.
Yeah. Like my best friend grew up and said, I want to be a nurse. And I was like, well, I want to be a franchise consultant. No,
No.
no. I was on my way to medical school. I answered a classified ad in the newspaper. Like my kids are like, what's that? It literally a classified ad for a telemarketing job. It was a franchise company in my local area. And it literally changed my life. The CEO offered me a 1 year position. Of course, my father was like, don't do it. You'll never go to med school. And I was like, Dad, my whole life has been about med school, but I'm having fun. It's fun to kind of make some money, give my brain a little rest. But there was definitely an entrepreneur in me my whole life because I had written the business plan when I was 19. Like I had always kind of been dabbling around business ownership. I just wasn't calling myself that because smart people go to medical school. But anyway, my dad was right. I never went to med school. I've never looked back. I found my future. I found everything I ever wanted. The entire franchise industry is built on helping people realize their dreams. Can you imagine waking up in an industry, going to industry events where people are showing up to help people live their dreams or they themselves are living their dreams? Like, come on,
Yeah.
it's this place on earth.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. And you also touched on something that I think is really important, like your free time. Like you're running a business, but you're not working in the business as a franchisee, I would guess.
Yeah. So when you start out as an entrepreneur, you better be madly in love with what you're doing because you've got to create it all from scratch. Entrepreneurs are inventors and they're creators, and I'm not knocking them. If we don't have new businesses through entrepreneurship, we don't have new franchises. So it's
Hmm.
all good. There's a time and a place for everybody. But for the average person who's like, I want to build wealth. I want to be able to pay for college tuition through cash flow versus savings. I want to plan for a better retirement. I need an additional stream of cash flow. And I want to create some tax advantage and I want to build equity for my future. A business is all of those things. But entrepreneurship, very risky. 90% of them fail before their fifth anniversary. So in the franchise, that 90% failure statistic, it's not true. We don't have that statistic. Why? Because we're not creating anything. We're partnering ourselves with people who are teaching us and mentoring us and coaching us. So you don't have to come with that idea and you don't have to have all that risk, the courage, the bravery that you have to have in entrepreneurship. And the average person does get to the point where you can build a team, be leveraged through technology, which you may never have as an entrepreneur, marketing plans, maybe a great location, maybe a brand, and be able to step back as that semi-active owner who's working on the business rather than in the business. Now, that doesn't apply to every franchise. It doesn't apply to every franchisee. The owner has to show up with the leadership skill and the ability to leave their investment in the hands of other people in order to step back and become semi-active. But the idea, Regina, to answer your question, is that in franchising, you can come in with that mentality of, I want to work on it, not in it, and build wealth. And in the same 3 to 5 years that it may take an entrepreneur to really flush out a model and figure out how to make money, I can have a franchisepreneur up and operating 3 to 5 locations. So both businesses are designed to build wealth, and wealth equals money and time. Which one wins? Not for the average person who's trying to accomplish money and time freedom. Franchising wins over entrepreneurship for all those reasons and a whole bunch of other ones.
That's pretty interesting. So obviously, if you're an entrepreneur, your startup costs can be very little or extremely like crazy amounts of money. What is the average amount that somebody would need to go into a franchise? And I know each franchise is different. I'm just kind of like ballparking.
Yep. It's a great question. And everything in franchising is highly regulated by the Federal Trade Commission, right? So there's things that as a franchise consultant, legally, I don't tell candidates. It's not my job. It's the franchisor's job. So what does it cost to invest in a business? What kind of earnings can I make? That's not my job. My job is to help align you to the business. And then the franchisor will educate you about their specific business. And I always tell my candidates, hey, listen, why do you want to hear it from me anyway? I don't represent the brand, right? You want to hear it from the people who represent that opportunity. But in general, to answer your question, investing in a franchise is like buying a car. So the more money you have, the more options you have.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Okay.
The minimums that I need to really create options, I'd say 100 to 120,000-ish all in, with a net worth of maybe 250. There's certainly options that you could be in for less than that. But here's what I say to people. If the all in is 60 to 80 grand, I would want you to have at least 100 to 120. Why? Because the number one reason that all businesses fail is because people run out of money. So why put yourself in, where you're out over your skis, you're financially stressed, you're looking at your bank account going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, when is the money coming back? Because here's the thing, as the mindset coach, when you are focused on lack, you cannot create abundance. So if you want to build wealth, you have to think from wealth. And for most people, they have to be able to look at their bank account and see money in there in order to keep their nervous system calm. So this goes beyond my consulting. This is my mindset coaching now, but it's true. And it's the truth in franchising. There's way too many people who struggle in franchising for no other reason other than that they have no discipline over their thoughts and the stories that they're telling themselves, because they don't understand how creation actually works, which is why I launched a second business called the Z Suite, which is to coach franchisees so you can really take the strategy that you're buying in that franchise, but apply the mindset that really will be the mindset that does create wealth.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. So if people wanted to learn more about you and what you're doing, where would they go find you?
Go right to my website. So I'm all over social media. I have a big personal brand, but the dalycoach.com, my last name is Daly. That's Daly. Everybody says, how do we get a little daily dose of Kim Daly? And I'm like, what should I name my company? My last name, pretty perfect. So the dalycoach.com, and you can learn about the franchise consulting free service or the paid for services of mindset coaching. And you know what? If you're out there listening and you're like, gosh, I know I want to own a business someday, but I'm not really ready. The mindset coaching is something you can start engaging in now, because the number one reason that people sit on the sideline instead of getting in business ownership game is they're talking themselves out of it because they're not sure how to be successful. We've all heard the horror stories. We all know somebody, right, who didn't have a good experience as a business owner. Maybe there's personal people in your family or your friend community that are like, oh my gosh, are you crazy? But so don't let their limiting mindset limit you. If you feel the call to want to build wealth in your life, this can be for you. And so the mindset coaching piece can help you really understand the creative process, how success is created, how to put success in the palm of your hand, where you never have to worry about the economy or the trend or the franchisor or a marketing plan or all of the things that people blame their lack of success on. And I speak with such confidence, Regina, because I was 8 years that owner. And then 1 year later, in my 9th year, back in 2011, I grew my business by 350% in one 12-month period.
Wow.
So my franchise process, my business has stayed the same for 23 years. We were still in a really crappy economy from 2010 to 2011. My skill sets did not change in 1 year. What changed was my mindset, how I thought about my business and who I decided to show up as. And when I showed up as $1 million Kim, what happened? The world reflected back $1 million. And literally, it feels so magical, even to say it, even though I've lived it and I've, gone on to build multi-million-dollar businesses. But it's why, after all these years of perfecting what I do and proving it to be right again and again and again for the last 13 years and giving it one-on-one to all of my candidates, I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur again and launch this coaching academy. You couldn't stop me because I want to share it with people, because this is the limiting factor, not only to sitting on the sideline and getting in the wealth game and controlling your life, but then even if you're in the wealth game, it's taking you out of the grind and getting you into the flow, getting you into where you literally can be passionate, where you can let go and enjoy the freedom you set yourself up for. It sounds so funny. What do you mean? People set themselves up and don't take the freedom? 100%. That's what I'm saying. Because it's harder than you think until you learn to think in a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah. It is also about what you put out there. Like, mindset is very, very important, I think, too. So I do have a question about, like, being a professional woman, what have been some of the challenges that you have faced?
Juggling it all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Single mom. Okay, so the first year I made $1 million, true story, was I went through a divorce. So I was literally running from the tiger, and I decided I did not want to have to ask him for any money. So I was going to have to get busy and figure this out very quickly. And I told him, you're quitting too soon. And then God just rained down on me this massive opportunity. I mean, I grew so much. So from the ashes of our lives, we can rebuild and build stronger. I am the provider for my family, even my ex-husband, like all the vacations we take, it's my ability to create cash flow, raising our kids in private school. So the challenges, Regina, for me are no different than any other working mom out there. My kids are now 17 and 18. So I'm sort of at the other end. I just paid my last private high school tuition payment and my first semester of college payment. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to work a lot more lately. I just a lot of cash, but I love it. And here's the thing, I'm paying for it through cash flow. I have savings, but I don't have to use it because I have plenty of cash flow. So, it's juggling it all, like every mom, Regina. And there are times you just sit and you think, dear Lord, how am I going to keep all of these plates spinning? But then you wake up the next day with fresh energy and focus on your source, not on your own power. And you align yourself, and then you make it through the day, and one day at a time. And then you wake up and you're like, wow, look what I've done.
I know. As a mom, I know exactly what you're saying. It is a constant challenge for sure. And congratulations for all of your success. That is a really great achievement for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and your kids, I'm sure, are loving every minute of the fact that their mom's like super successful. So good for you.
And guess what my boys want to do? They are both decided to go to college to major in business. and are very excited about opening franchise businesses with their mom, which I love.
No, that's awesome. That is so fun.
So
Good for
here's
them.
the thing, ladies, whoever's listening, when you follow your dreams, because I think often as moms, we put ourselves on hold, right? To take
Absolutely. Yep.
everybody. But
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing, by following what's right for you, yes, did I give up some things? Sure, like picking up my kids from school, but those are things that, on the first day of school and the last day of school, I would do it, but then I could hire people to pick those kids up. I've been at every soccer game and lacrosse game, and because I have the freedom in my schedule to make those choices. But here's what I was going to say. So I dared to follow my dreams, to know that I was worth more and that I could be independent and control my own destiny without being married, a place I never thought I would find myself. But I found the courage to do it, and I did it really, really well. And because I've done it, I've literally changed the legacy and the trajectory for those Daly boys behind me. So it's not all about the dad leaving the legacy. The mom can be the legacy maker too.
Oh, preach, girl, preach.
We have a lot of power. I know the dads play a lot of influence in who our kids become, but kids also can take influence from their moms.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I know my kids do for sure. And, there's a lot of great women and men out there. And hopefully our kids are listening to both of us. Take the best of everybody and leave the bad stuff behind. But, all that.
Exactly.
So if we were to get into a time machine and thinking about retirement, what's your vision of retirement?
I have no plans to retire. Like there's way too much happening in my mind that I would and never ever retire. As I age, I would like to again transition back and maybe teach fewer courses, but I never want to stop providing impact in the world. I want to work until the very end of my life because what I do is not a grind. And that's what I'm teaching people. When there's a grind in your nervous system, you want to stop. But when there's flow and there's passion and life in every cell of your body, when you're doing what you love every day and you call it work and you're blessed to get paid for it, which is what you can achieve through any franchise, not just the one you think you're passionate about, then there's no reason to stop.
No.
So
That's pretty awesome. That's awesome. Well, it's just jam-packed full of information. It sounds like almost like you get even more satisfaction and lift from your coaching as it does from your franchising. So it sounds like it's a great combination for you.
Is the coaching piece has been on my heart for a few years, and I kept pushing it down because I have the business that everybody in my world dreams of, right? Why do you want to mess it up? Why do you have to ask for more? I'm making all the money. I have the life and cut back my hours. But when there's growth inside of you and you're being called to more, you have to answer the call or you will just never feel satisfied. That's what I've learned. Once you feel the call for growth, you can no longer be who you used to be and be happy. And so you have to answer the call. You have to step out again in faith into the unknown. And that's what I've done. And you know what? This has been the greatest year of my life, the greatest 2 years as I've done it. I have been on a high since the day that I made that committed decision.
That's pretty awesome. And I think that'll be our action item today is answer the call to growth and think abundantly about your future. And hopefully that helps bring you to the future that you want.
That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's really, really, really educational for me. And I was really excited to talk to you.
Thank you for having me. I always love to speak to people, especially women. It's great. Yeah, thank you so much,
awesome.
Regina.
Great. And thank you everyone else for joining us. Again, I'm Regina McCann-Hess. My website is forgewealth.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Forge Wealth. And LinkedIn, Regina McCann-Hess. Go make it a great day. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Women in Wealth podcast. You can watch the founder's video I created for you to learn more about me and how I can guide you towards your financial independence at www.forgewealth.com. The information in this podcast is educational and general in nature and does not take into consideration the listener's personal circumstances. Therefore, it is not intended to be a substitute for specific, individualized financial, legal, or tax advice. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a final decision. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, and SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and Forge Wealth Management are separate entities from the LPL Financial. Our show guests and their companies are not affiliated with nor endorsed by LPL Financial, Private Advisor Group, or Forge Wealth Management.